What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're building a barn house. Had a couple of videos on this a little bit. If you're following the gram, you may have seen the barn house construction. Please like, subscribe, send these videos out to the YouTube universe. Why I decided to build a barn house or a shop mahal or the barndominium or metal building or a post frame. Those are all the lingos that people use. And I'd probably say there's three main reasons to give you guys a shot of what the thing looks like. Number one was when I looked at what I could run off grid. This was the most energy efficient construction that I could find within reason. So it seemed to be in the top class. So we've kind of got got your typical side of your barn. You've got your lean-to out there for your porch. You've got a dormer up top. You've got a secondary story up there. Go ahead and take you in. We just got the concrete poured on here. So the number one reason was energy efficiency. I want to run the thing on solar and I want to be off grid. Just, world gets crazy, whatever. I just don't want to have to deal with it. So energy efficiency was number one. Number two was cash flow. I wanted to build the property in phases and not give up the title or the deed to the bank. Meaning, bought the land, cash. Cleared the land as we could, cash. Put in the utilities as we could. Put in the well as we could. All of those items are like 10 grand here, 5 grand there. Put in the driveway, 15 grand there. Like just we're able to chip away at it and then build the house without getting a construction loan, because the construction loans, one, require me to use a general contractor, which will add about 20% to the building cost, which I'm not against because construction is not really my gig. I mean, I do exterior stuff, I do land clearing, I do excavation. But as far as the nitty and gritty of wood and nails and supports and wiring and all that, that's not really my game. I've done a few things, but it's not really my game. So I'm not against that 20% that I would have spent on a general, but I would have also had a 7% construction loan interest rate. And that's like the good one. That's a good rate. And I was like, man, if 200 grand, that's 14 grand a year, you're paying to do that. Now everyone says, dude, don't worry about it. Just finish the house and then refinance it into like a 3%, 3.5% loan. One, I had to give up title to the bankers. So I'm like, don't really like that. Two, who's to say that that would be an occurrence? Meaning, yeah, the interest rate should stay low. Yeah, we should be able to go in and be able to refinance it. But what if that doesn't happen? And so I didn't really want to take the risk. And then when we went down that road, we immediately were like, oh, let's put a pool on. Let's add the garage. Let's add this. And all of a sudden, our budget went, 100 grand X, 100 grand up from there. So that would be the third part, is it allows me to build it in phases. So number one, energy efficiency construction within reason. I know that there's yurts and things like that. I know that there's earth ships. I'm in all that stuff too, but what's gonna meet code in my area and be reasonable for resale value and gonna meet hurricane standards and all those other things. It seemed like 9 inches of insulation on the wall. It's built like a cooler. Metal on the outside. We did metal on the inside. A lot of people don't do that. We're gonna do metal on the inside. It's gonna cause us a few issues, but it should be a cool effect because this is all the interior walls over here. Just got the concrete in, plumbing in. So one, energy efficiency. Two, phases in building it, meaning we contracted with Morton Buildings to build this building. I think it was like 138 grand, somewhere around there. We've made some changes, not many, but we've had to add things. A roof had to be added. We had to change out some these LVLs. Our code. When we got to permitting and things like that, numbers changed around, but it was under 150 grand with Morton. And I was able to do that in phases, meaning I pay Morton up front most of it to build the building, like 90% of it to build the building. I pay the electrical guy as they go. I paid the plumbing guys as they go. Morton will come in, finish the rest. I paid the concrete guys, and then Morton will finish the rest of it out. And then phase one of this building construction process will be like our doors are in. I had to buy the windows as well. So we had, 18 grand in hurricane windows and doors that we ordered in 19, thank goodness, because who knows, we might have been priced out if we had waited longer than that. And so I was able to go, okay, phase one, let's just call it a little bit north of 200 grand. Phase two, I've got to do a kitchen in here, right? Kitchens can be, you could probably do a kitchen for 10, 15 grand if you wanted to. Kitchens are crazy. You could go all the way up to 80, 100 grand in kitchen. Just depends on what you want to do. I got to frame this. I got to pick flooring, right? I want to do polished concrete. The wife was like, not about the polished concrete. Turns out it's the same amount of, like, if I do polished concrete or I do like nice wood floors, it costs the same per square foot. I know, it's crazy. But you got to polish it. It's not any cheaper. I like the look. And so it allows us to do it in phases, meaning once we get through the big hump phase, like the big, we can technically, like, in the next month, these doors will be on. And if we just said, forget it, we're going to pick this project up in a year, we can just peace out. I mean, the next phase will be framing this out like a shopping center, basically, right? We'll frame this out and then start building and constructing it out. We've got to put in gas. We've got to put in septic. We've got a fireplace going up there. We've got not a whole lot of stuff going on up in the office. I've already bought the spiral staircase that'll be going up that way, sitting in that box right there on that pallet. So basically energy efficiency, phase in building it, from developing the land and doing other things to the land, like the well and putting the office out on here. And I've got RV hookups and stuff. I was able to do all that stuff. I was able to get the food forest and stuff going on like way before I started the house, which to me made more sense. And then the ability to add on as I go. So it's easy to connect this to a garage, which we will do a garage. The original plans had a really nice garage to it. It was like a 3-car with an RV spot, like, so you fit large trucks in and stuff like that. And then I was like, it's like not like, I kind of want more garage than that, but I was kind of getting into my budget part. And then I was like, dude, we don't even need to do the garage right now. I'll just keep all the stuff over in the barn for now. And we'll do the garage later. We'll do like a 6-car later or something like that. We'll figure out what we can do later. So it does allow us in the terms of phase building, and as far as cash flows go, it does enable us to do that. Last part of it would be, I like the design. Like, I'm big into, like, it's a great way to go. It's a great industrial look. It's very rugged. And like, if I had my way, I'd be living in like a concrete box with glass, very Frank Lloyd Wright, and concrete polished floors, and maybe like a white sofa and like nothing else. It would just be like looking like an Apple store in there. So it kind of was a good contrast between, you've got some modern look, but it's still very traditional, and it's kind of barn housey, and it does look like from the street, it does look like traditional house, and it's a little bit stronger construction than utilizing a stick frame. And it's a lot, in a way, it's a lot more energy efficient than the concrete idea that we were going through, because they've got attic space in them and all that other stuff. And it allows the structure, just the way that they build it is like everything here is anchored. And so this floor is a floating floor. It doesn't support anything. So in theory, it won't, we won't get cracks and things like that. Everything is anchored in on big 8-foot, 6-foot, anchors, basically, with concrete poured around them. And so everything is like self-supporting. And if I ever want to change anything, like, I can literally just blow out this wall and, take the house that way or do whatever. And so we were able to build it with that in mind, knowing that at some point, we designed it so we don't have to do any of that stuff, but we designed it in a way where this will be a mudroom out to here. And then it just depends on how well I do in the next few years and how much I want to invest in like a house or a crib. But there's a couple things on my list. Like, I got to get the Camaro, like I've never owned a car, and I really want like a 69, 68, like old school Camaro. I don't know why, I just do. And so that's one. I got to build the trucks in there, got to get a diesel Mercedes because, fuel efficiency. maybe a bus, like van life. I don't know. So it just depends on how much stuff we end up, and when we want to do that. But it allows us to do it in phases. So I think it's I don't know. It's come out pretty cool. I mean, pretty good. We've had a couple issues with contractors, just like trying to figure out. Not everybody's familiar with this type of construction, so you get like everyone that we found as far as a subcontractor has known how to work on these and has worked on these before, but not everyone knows, particularly the permit guys, the county guys. When they were looking at the calcs and the energy specs, they were like, okay, that's great, but they were talking about we had to, like, our roof had to meet a certain AC too, we have to do that in a different phase, but like things have to meet certain specs, and it's a non-traditional way of building. I think it's becoming more popular, but it was certainly non-traditional. And so that caused some areas of like, we just have to figure out how this is going to go, type of deal. So ultimately it's pretty cool. It's coming together pretty nice, and it allows us to do a lot with it. And actually, like, I mean, just this is 19 feet up to the ceiling there. So when you're in here, it's not a big structure. This thing's 2,200 square feet total, between the top loft and downstairs. But it gives us a very easy space to work off of, and we can build it as that shell, as I said, in that phase. So it's like we check out with Morton. We've got the shell is complete. We can take our time in here and figure out, okay, everything had to be on the plan for our county, but we can figure out, okay, how we're going to frame everything. What type of trim, like all that stuff is something that we don't have to commit to. If I was doing the stick frame house or I was doing the concrete house, it would be like a one and done gig. It'd be like, here's what the house is going to cost. Here's the process, pay for it up front or as you go. I mean, you can't, it's like once you're going in one of those type of processes. This allowed us to kind of stop for a set and rest. It's kind of like, okay, cool. We can get to this spot, put 200 plus grand into it. And then we can hang for a minute. We can work, we can restack cash, we can figure out, how expensive should the kitchen be. We know where everything's going. Everything's already on the plans. But, we're going to go with a Sub-Zero refrigerator, or we're going to get, we're going to find a scratch and dent somewhere. Like, it allows us at that point to figure it out and not give the title over to the bank. And that was really the big thing, and saves us 14 grand for the year that we're doing the construction, plus the 20% for the construction. So just on paper, we figured just over a 2-year process, it would save us about like 80 grand by doing it this way. The downside to that is you do have your time involved in it, because I put quite a few working days in the last year into this property that I could have been working elsewhere and making income. So does it offset? I still feel like it's been a positive experience, let's put it that way. But, that's the downside to self-contracting yourself. We haven't really touched, besides the excavation here and doing some of the pipes I had to throw in, and like, besides that stuff, most everything has been subcontracted. But you still have to meet with a subcontractor. You got to meet with the permit guy when he comes out and checks off inspections. I think there's 27 permits we have to close in this area to get everything done. And then there are like little details like, okay, you've got lights over there on that metal. How's that going to fit? You do a box and then the light on that. Like, there's a couple of weird things that in traditional homes would be like a no-brainer for most subs. And then you get like a different sub who comes out and he's like, I don't know how to do that. And you have to kind of pre-think a few things like that. But for the most part, super ecstatic with how it's come out. And it's got, like, it has an it has a very long warranty on things like the paint on the building. Like, Morton warranties this thing for 30 years, I believe. I think the roof is warranted for 40 or 50 years. And so when I was just doing like the quick math, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be like well into my 60s before I even have to consider painting this place or doing anything like that. And so that's kind of why I went with a really reputable builder that has over 100-year history, and is an employee-owned business, which is, working with them has been pretty cool. Not without its issues, but working with them has been really cool. The quality and the details, and all this stuff like that, and the trim and how they tie everything in, and then it hits over to the lake. Like, it's been it's been cool. And so yeah, that's kind of what it is. Hit me up in the comments. We'll try to do more of these if people are interested in it. Please like, subscribe, send these videos out to the YouTube universe. Until the next video, catch ya.